restart the session. This is our final session in the committee's Planetary Health Inquiry. We've just been hearing from several of the government's chief scientific advisors, including the chief scientific advisor, and we're keen to now question ministers and a director from Public Health England and the Director General from the Department for Health and Social Care on some of the overarching issues that we've been looking at. The concept of planetary health encapsulates the health of people and the natural systems on which they depend. Minister Malthouse, perhaps I can begin with you. Your department hasn't had a chief scientific advisor for the last 7 years. Why is that, given that you are responsible for the built environment and the planning of cities in which we all live, and you don't have any scientific advice for the last 7 years on that?
Well, we obviously, as a department, rely on a variety of technical advice, which we glean from outside experts, and we, in all other policies that we devise, we obviously put everything out to consultation to try and get the best advice that we can. But obviously we are effectively in this discussion a sort of arm of we're sort of a regulator really. So through the planning system and the building regulation system, we try and set the framework within which the delivery arm, so local authorities, are able to operate and deliver the kind of policies which are devised as a whole across government. So where we are particularly, for example, trying to weave planetary health into our policies, we generally would take our direction from a whole government policy decision about particular direction. So, for example, the clean growth strategy had particular implications for local authorities and how they participate, and so we would weave that into our policy work that way.
You're now seeking a chief scientific advisor.
Yeah.
So was it sort of neglect or just absent-mindedness that made you forget to recruit one over the last 7 years, or was it a deliberate strategy?
No, I don't think so. I think that obviously the staffing within the department flexes as required for need and expertise, and there's now a requirement for somebody, we think, in a variety of areas, because it's not just about this, right? So there are a number of issues that we've been dealing with where we may need some scientific advice, not least, for example, on building safety. So we're going through a particular program around building safety where we've got a large-scale series of testing where there may be scientific implications, and so having some advice now seems appropriate.
Well, I mean, you talk about the fact that you're a regulator. Do you not think that regulating without scientific advice is problematic?
Well, we obviously do, which is why we're trying to recruit somebody.
Right, but for the last 7 years, you haven't. Is that a big gap?
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not privy to the thinking of people in my job previously. So all I can say is that we're trying to recruit somebody now, and hopefully that person will add to our sum of knowledge.
Okay. So you're responsible for the built environment. How do your departments cooperate across government? So health, environment, built environment, in terms of dealing with these big issues around healthy cities where people can move and can breathe, and healthy buildings, which obviously is top of your mind post-Grenfell, I'm sure. Can I start perhaps with Minister Coffey?
Sure. Well, I think it's about, the whole issue of planetary health is broad and emerging.